Alrighty, moving on to the next battle of the Civil War, we're going to talk about the Merrimack versus the Monitor. This is probably the most important naval battle in the entire Civil War. The Confederacy, early on in the war, had attacked because they were going around attacking old forts and stuff that had previously belonged to the Union, but now they saw that it's in our territory, so it belongs to us. And one of those places was a Navy yard, and because they attacked it, the Navy yard's like where they store all of the Navy ships. And so they got control of all the ships in the yard. But because the Union had blockaded the coast, it was really difficult for the South to do anything with these ships, and so they had to try to think of a way to break through the blockade. And so they're basically going to build a ship that can't be blown up, because when you're fighting a Navy battle, the whole point is to blow holes in the side of the other person's ship, and if it's made out of wood, unless you're old Ironsides, that's very easy to do. And so these new things called Iron-Clad ships started popping up. The first one set sail in France, and this is what it looked like here. And so the South figured, oh, we could just make something similar to that. And so they started working on the Merrimack, which had been partially destroyed. So it would have looked like this before it was officially destroyed. And so what they did is they basically cut the top half off, so that it would be very low to the water. You can see a photograph of it down there. The plan was to build an iron shell around the ship, or what was left of it, and to put an iron ram onto the front of it so that they could, full steam ahead, plow into the side of a ship, puncture a hole in it, and then when they backed up, it would fill up with water and the ship would sink. The armor on this ship was 4 inches thick, so it had about 1.5 inches of metal, and then another inch of wood, and another 1.5 inches of metal, so that the wood was kind of in between, and that way whenever it took damage, the different layers would kind of squeeze together, and it would bounce off easier. The cannons inside the ship were massive, and you can see they're on a little track there, and you do not want to be standing behind that cannon when it goes off. These cannonballs that they're using are those 200-pound ones that we've talked about before, so this is some pretty heavy-hitting stuff. When the Union found out what the South was building, they started rushing to try to make their own. Part of the reason is because the Potomac River leads right into the Chesapeake Bay. And with this ironclad ship, the South could be able to sail right up that river and park itself in the middle of Washington, D.C., and open fire on everything around it, like the White House and all these very important government buildings. Their new ship is going to be called the Monitor. So where the Merrimack had kind of like a turtle shell shape to it, to the top of it, and a lot of different cannons on the side, the Monitor is going to have just 2 cannons, but it's going to be on a spinning turret. It's also going to sit a lot lower on the water. When the Merrimack shows up, it attacked the Union fleet in a place called Hampton Roads, Virginia, and destroyed 2 Union ships before the night fell, because it would just plow into the side of it, and you can see in this picture, it hit it so hard it almost knocked the ship just over completely. The next morning, though, the Monitor sailed up. It was finally finished to face off against the Merrimack, which was on its way back to destroy the rest of the Union fleet. Neither side was able to sink the other. The Merrimack did plow into the side of the Monitor, and its ram did puncture through the metal. But when the Merrimack went to back up, the ram broke off and basically plugged the hole that they had just made. But neither side is able to do much damage to the other one, so they spend the entire day fighting before both of them just kind of eventually limp off, because neither one was really able to keep fighting anymore. This is the first time that we have a battle between ironclad warships, and after this, pretty much every country in the world is going to stop making those wooden ships and start solely focusing on ironclad ships.